Merry Krismas. This is the day of our Lord and Savior, Kris Kringle. And this is Hyperborean Radio. I am the lore keeper, and with me, as always, is the consummate roughneck, Celtic God. Say hello to the dirty heathens.
Hello, dirty heathens. So this episode is brought to you by our many supporters on Patreon and the buyers of our wares and so on and so forth. Let's dive right straight into this and skip all that.
Yes. So a lot of this comes down to one very simple thing. And I'm actually going to let Lovecraft say it because he said it better than I will. It was the Yuletide that men call Christmas, though they know in their hearts it is older than Bethlehem and Babylon, older than Memphis and mankind. And that's the point. That's the thing. I don't really care what this holiday is called. And here's the thing. The Yuletide, Yule, is a season. It's a lunar month. If anything, I have had far more people be like, yeah, let's bring back a whole freaking lunar month so I don't have to try and plan my chaotic nonsense modern day schedule around 2 freaking days.
Yeah, people, they're instinctively trying to get back to the traditional way of doing things. Like, it's nice to get everybody together, but the reality is it's difficult unless you're all neighbors.
Yes, and most families are spread to the 4 winds.
And we have been for a long time. It's easy to blame modernity for that, but no, we've been spread out for a long time. I mean, we've had, what are those things called where you, not pageants,
but pilgrimages?
Pilgrimages. And the thing is going to visit my family across the country, across England or across Romania or across... Thanks, Romania. We noticed you watching and reading us, or listening and reading us. Anyways, or I have family. I live in England, and I have family in Germany, and we're going to do a pilgrimage to go visit our family. And it's been happening for a very, very long time.
Well, it's just how we work. It's like Christianity didn't come up with pilgrimages. That was a pagan thing.
Yeah.
We would go on
As a matter of fact,
journeys.
They couldn't stop us from doing it, which is why they just incorporated it.
Oh, yeah. They were like...
And then they had to introduce it into the Middle East.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like, they're doing this pilgrimage thing where they go across half of Europe and collect a seashell for, I don't know, Venus. So that's for St. John now. Yeah, that'll work. Santiago.
Yes. Yeah, St. John, the saint of toilets. Wait, no. No, that can't be right. But the etymology says.
Well, you see, John is the name of a toilet, so therefore he is the god of sewage.
Right. He's full of shit. So, anyways, back onto topic. Pretty much this is like the 14th time that we've tried this. Last minute is going out. But don't be like that teenager, that snarky little teenager at Thanksgiving that's like, oh, yes, the holiday about killing Indians and genocide.
That's just the youth taking it out on people. And here's the thing is, I know there's a lot of young men, young women coming into paganism, and some of them did find their way back to ethnic faith.
Well, and some are excited to let everybody know, but here's the secret. Everybody already knows.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's in all the carols. Sing the ancient Yuletide carol. I mean, what child is this descends of green sleeves, which descends of an even older...
a nameless song that's even older, that's written about, which caused green sleeves, and what child is this to be written, because the priest couldn't stand the dirty peasants, the pagans running, or not running, but forming a procession, an impromptu procession, walking down the street singing a wordless hymn to heathen gods.
Oh, it's like they tried to get rid of the snowman because it was competition. Everyone thinks the church's main problem was trying to get rid of the humanoid gods. No, those were easy to figure out. And at worst, they made them saints, or they hit them as folk heroes, or said they're demons and devils. But their real problem, the ones that the church had to go millennia-long crusades against, were the most mundane ones because they were the hardest to get rid of. The bears, the foxes. I mean, there's literally books written about the
snowmen literally going around and burn. They would get together and have what are those things called? Crusades against the snowmen. It's the dumbest thing I've ever read. It's
It
confirmed,
happens.
but it happened, and they would go around and crusade against the snowmen. And then when they was confused, being good Christians, and I don't know why they would be confused by this, but they go around, they smash up the snowmen that the kids had built, and the kids join in and smash the snowmen because that's part of what you're supposed to do.
Well, it's just like the corn dollies. You make the corn dollies, you keep them on the little mantle, and then you burn them at the end.
Yeah. So they couldn't stop the kids from kids and adults from building the snowmen. So then they would go around and they'd set them on fire. Well, that's just destroying the snowman in a new way. So they join in.
That's actually a pretty badass way to do it.
It is.
But
it's an expensive way, especially back then, to do it because what you have to do is you douse the. So you can do this. You can do this. Don't do it in a way where you're going to end up having to pay fines and whatnot. But one traditional way to do the snowman is you build the snowman, you have your celebration, you have a snowball fight with it and knock chunks out of it and all this good stuff. But then to burn it, you take fuel and you saturate the snowman in fuel and then light it on fire. There's entire celebrations in the U.S., and I think that I even tripped over some in Europe, where this is a thing.
Yes.
It'll be a massive snowman or a snowman army, and they will burn it.
Sometimes the snowman's made out of straw, but usually it's actually made out of snow. Like there's a snowman burning festival in Michigan.
That they still do. Do you remember where that is off the top of your head?
No, it's just in the LP somewhere. There's some in the UP as well.
There was some in the UP. There probably still are areas up there, but like my hometown, we would do that, and we would specifically use diesel oil and hydraulic fluid and douse just before we burned them. And douse them in that because the gasoline would make the gasoline itself would start melting the snow. So we would use lower octane fuels and woof, and we end up with flames like 50 feet up in the air.
Well, the thing is the gasoline, and do this safely, but basically it would just burn up. It's like when you put alcohol on a pudding.
Uh-huh.
You know, those old school English puddings, and you set it on fire. You're burning the alcohol off.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing, same basic idea with the snowman.
Yeah.
And the reason I wanted to start this whole freaking podcast with our Lord and Savior, Kris Kringle, which is an epithet of Santa Claus, is because, one, nobody pronounces it Christ Mass, and if they do, they're just being belligerent. It's the Christian version of it's not Christmas, it's Yule. Well, Thanksgiving's just about killing Indians.
Yeah.
Well, Halloween's just invented by the candy companies.
But what people always say is Christmas.
Yes. And who is associated with Christmas? Who comes around every year? Who's everyone excited to see? Good old Kris Kringle.
Right, and I mean, this is the time of year to be excited because everybody is just short of openly admitting how heathen they are. And the thing is if you show up and you're not Mr. or Mrs. Lecture sour dourpuss, and you just enjoy the holiday with your family and friends, people want to be around you. They want to be like you. They want to be with you. And then the craziest thing will happen if they know that you know what you're talking about is eventually, maybe not this year, but maybe next year, you show up and you're the life of the party. They will start asking you questions like, oh, well, you say this is a Christian or a pagan holiday, and it's kind of a thing. Everybody's saying that it's a pagan holiday. What about the angel on top of the tree? What is that actually? What is that actually supposed to be? Because I've had people do that with me, and they're not like, well, what about the angel on top of the tree? Huh? They don't do that with me. They'll say things like, well, it's a pagan holiday. I know it's a pagan holiday, but what's up with the angel on top of the tree? And now I'll explain to them, well, I'll look at it. Does it have fairy wings or does it have the swan wings? And now I'll just explain to them what it actually is. And they're interested because I'm not mean. Don't be mean. Well, that's not what this holiday's about.
Well, and in general, yes, don't be the Grinch. Don't be all full of humbug. And it's sometimes the inner cynic in me wants to be full of humbug. But I also really love Yuletide. Mm-hmm. I love this. I really would love it to make a comeback of an entire lunar month because there's like 50 different holidays. Well, how is there 50 different holidays if it's only 28 days? Well, there's different holidays depending on the day, and then it's what region, and then who is it. It's chock full. It's like every holiday season. It's got a peak, but really, it's every single day depending on what region you are in is a different holiday.
Well, and the thing is, if you can get people to be interested enough, just by being interesting yourself, to ask questions about, well, what about this and what about that? Be careful not to slide into professor mode.
Oh yeah, because
they want to have a conversation. They don't want to be lectured to.
Oh yes. Well, and the shorter and more concise you can make your point, then the better. Like one of the most common things people say is Santa Claus is Odin. I wrote a whole article on why that isn't really the thing. But the reality is people just want a short answer, and then they want to keep talking. Yep. They want to have a conversation. They want to be jolly. They want to be sociable. They want to be merry.
Well, and if you can make the answer interesting enough, they might want to keep talking about that thing.
Oh, yeah. Like we've tried this with Rudolph. We've had people come up and ask us, so what about Rudolph? And I slip into professor mode, which I'm breaking myself of that habit. But I came to the conclusion the fastest way to do it is something along the lines of Santa Claus has always had a deer. All we did was give him a really cool name and a neat little trait with like the blood red nose, like the blood on the snow.
Well, and if you can be excited about it, they get excited about it. Because I've run experiments on my own. Somebody asked me about, well, Rudolph, they say, and then they'll frame it the way that it's always framed, and their question is actually longer than my answer, because my answer is Rudolph. It means glory wolf. And the red nose is the blood on the snow. And then it's actually pretty cool because they go somewhere else. I don't know where they're going, but I'm imagining that they're imagining the splash of blood on the snow and a deer looking up with red on his face. And Glory Wolf is just a cool name that I don't even think that they're questioning it.
No. And that is actually what Rudolph means. I've heard some people complain about the name. I'm like, it's old Germanic. It means glory wolf or wolf of honor.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting it. And
it's epic.
Oh yeah.
Why should we fight that?
Well, and Rudolph almost replaced the eight reindeer sleigh because Santa started out like most members of the Wild Hunt with one deer.
And it's weird. His journey with the deer, it goes from one deer, I think, to 2 to like 24, back to 14, back to 8.
Sometimes 10.
Yeah.
And then, but the 8 is more consistent because of Visit St. Nicholas. Yes. But then Rudolph showed up, and everyone's like, this one's pretty cool.
Well, I say book loosely. It's a children's book based off from a poem, I think.
Yes. It's a poem / children's book.
Oh,
and
here's the other thing, too. Somebody asked you about Santa Claus and Rudolph. Well, why does the other 8 deer and so on? If you don't know, just be like, you know what? That's a good question. I don't know. We can find out.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing is you can look these things up and yes.
And argue with the answers.
Oh, yes, because like you first look up the name Kris Kringle, you're going to come up with a bit of nonsense. But pretty much after we dug a bit, basically the name means surrounding healing or something like that.
It's like the healing one or...
The healing of the heath.
Yeah.
That's actually what it translates to more or less.
Yeah, Kris Kringle. Kris is like the healing one or a healing ointment. Yes, with every name you're going to get some super Christianized
they try to make every
of
single one of our names Jesus.
Yeah, like my name means explosive, fiery, violent, things like this. And then when you look up my name, it means God's peace. That's what Google says it means.
Oh yeah, when I showed
God's
you that, you started cracking up.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But yes, Kris, when you dig into it, it's more long-winded even in my explanation. But it means the healing one, or a healing oil, or a healing ointment. So when applied to a person, it'd be a healing one. It'd be the healing one. Kringle, it's a family name. Hi, Kringles. But it also means like a rural farm or the heath. So the healing one of the heath, or the one that brings the healing.
Well, and specifically the surrounding or encircling.
Yeah.
So It's a healing force that encircles the heath.
It's an idea. It's more of an idea.
It's the Christmas spirit.
Yes, it's the Christmas
we
spirit.
gave him the name Christmas spirit.
Effectively.
Basically.
Yes. He brings the healing of the countryside.
Yes. Well, that's what the heathens were.
Yes.
We covered that in the last one.
It's a perfect name.
It is. We seem to accidentally do it. It's like, well, Santa Claus means St. Nicholas. No, it doesn't. It means Holy Victory of the People.
Yeah.
He's got some pretty badass names, people.
He does. And they're not nearly as Christian as people want to pretend that they are.
No, and he's actually trending not only just more and more pagan over the years, and everything in frickin' Christmas is.
Mm-hmm.
They end up giving frickin' reindeer antlers to Santa Claus. Father Christmas is making a comeback and looking more and more like the Holly King. And the
axe has come back.
Oh, yeah. He's getting his axe, but instead of a wood axe, it's turning into a battle axe.
Uh-huh.
He's becoming the Defender of the North. And the most popular story, aside from Santa Claus, around Christmas time, it's been done to death because it's that good, A Christmas Carol, which is a myth of the Wild Hunt. The most popular 2 stories of Christmas are still the Wild Hunt, Santa Claus and A Christmas Carol. And A Christmas Carol is basically just a story of a good man who's lost hope and has fallen into his own misery and letting himself wallow in it. And then being
People
visited.
are like, a good man, but please read the story.
He's not.
He's not evil.
Yes, that they make him worse and worse in each iteration. It's like no. The whole point is that he's just a miser.
He was stingy.
He's stingy and he's cynical and he's miserable. And he's just. It's like being around someone.
Don't be a Scrooge. Don't be stingy. Don't be cynical. Don't
Humbug.
be miserable.
No, and then by the end, he's just given hope. That's what the ghosts do.
He realizes the actual the value of life.
Well, and if you want to bring a little bit of A Christmas Carol in that whole spirit into your home this holiday season, this Christmas season, this Yuletide, let's take it back from the generic. Then it's very simple. Read a ghost story. Watch A Christmas Carol.
Oh yeah, that used to be a thing. The Christmas Eve
ghost
horror
stories. Oh yes, there's a lot of good. If you don't know any off the top of your head, you can find some.
Oh yeah, there's whole books about the Christmas scary tales.
Oh, I think there's one guy. What is his name? The Jolly Reaver on YouTube. He has a few videos specifically on like English Christmas ghost stories.
Oh, see, and that's cool. Oh, something else that I think is interesting that's happening with Santa Claus is his sleigh is turning into a shield. I've seen a few completely separate art pieces where his sleigh is pulled by the reindeer, by Rudolph, by Glory Wolf, and it's a sleigh, and then he gets up and he picks up his sleigh, and his sleigh is more like a toboggan is what it looks like because it's being pulled, and he's got his big sack of toys, and then he gets up and he picks up his sleigh, and it's a shield. And then he has his battle axe, which is kind of cool. I hope things keep trending in that way. That is awesome. That is thinking that out.
Well, and here's the thing is, Santa Claus has his roots in British Isle Celtic myth and German myth. Like he used to before he was at the North Pole, which is a fucking epic element. I'm not going to fight the North Pole element.
Well, because that's really old, too.
Oh, yeah. The North Pole with the freaking candy cane swirls, that's at least 1,000 years old, minimum. He used to actually be, like a lot of German gods, he was depicted with a magical vanishing castle. Frau Hala's got the same thing. It's a thing. And he has elves, he's got fairies, he's got kidnapped kids because they were naughty.
Yeah. At least with Krampus, he'll either kill you or torture you a little bit and let you go, but at least you're home for Christmas. So either you're never going home because you're dead, or you're home for Christmas and you learned your lesson. But with Santa Claus, when you're naughty and Santa Claus notices, you're going to be gone for a couple centuries. You're blessed with temporary immortality as a child, locked in as a child. And then after you learn your lesson, it's going to take 100 or 200 years. Then he'll return you home.
Santa Claus.
Holy fuck.
Old school Santa Claus, both in looks, because he used to look a lot more terrifying. Even with like freaking reindeer antlers coming out of his head, pelts, and in action makes Krampus look like
Krampus was the nice guy.
Krampus was the nice one.
He was the gentle one.
He was the chill one. Like when in those movies where Santa goes from "I'm a jolly, happy soul" to "I will rip you from your covers and feed you into a meat grinder." That's accurate.
Fat Man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. If they so much as suffer a cold because of you, I will come and rip you from your bed. It's whoa.
it is. It's what he is. Santa Claus is supposed to be very, very jolly. But here's the thing. Same rules that apply to our men, but on a god. So for our men, a harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a very, very dangerous man who keeps it voluntarily in check.
Mm-hmm.
Considering how jolly, kind, and just overall comforting Santa Claus is, how freaking dangerous is he to offset that?
And Christmas movies, that's part of Christmas. It's part of the storytelling tradition. It's transformed into movies. The 3 best Christmas movies that I found, I forgot what the other one was, but Fat Man, Christmas Carol, the 2019 miniseries.
For the first half?
For the first half. Once the Ghost of Christmas Past goes away, just turn it off. It's a train wreck after that. But what was the other one?
The Santa Claus? Was that it?
Yes, the Santa Claus.
Which is a straight-up pagan myth.
The first one. Just the first one.
Yeah, don't watch the TV series, don't watch the sequels, but the first one is a straight-up pagan myth. And it's fascinating because watching the movie, every year I notice more and more pagan things about it.
Uh-huh.
Like this time I actually noticed, oh, this was clearly planned. There's not really a Santa Claus actually on the roof. What happened is it was all a whole thing just to get him to be Santa.
Uh-huh.
That was his gift. It's pagan rules. You get what you need, not what you want.
Yes.
He needed to be Santa.
Well, and one of the giveaways is what's the ladder?
The Rose Suchek Ladder Company.
Yeah, Suchek Ladder Company. It's exactly what the boy had said earlier that night. And yes, you can get see that the whole movie is actually a delusion and what's that character's name? Neil? The psychologist?
Oh, from the Santa
dickhead.
Claus, yes.
Yes.
He's sucking us into his delusions.
Yes. So you can go that route with it, or you can be a human and be like, okay, I see, yes. The claws, all this good stuff. It's just to keep Scott Calvin involved, to keep him going. It's what Scott Calvin and his family needs, not necessarily what they want.
Well, and he has Santa Claus abilities from the moment the Santa Claus dies, before he even puts it on. And then the Santa disappears, but the suit's still moving.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the suit.
There
was
never
never
was.
anything in the suit. That was not the point. Whatever Santa was on before him was long gone. And it's these little things you notice. And there's other really good Christmas movies. Like I'm a really big fan of 2019, 2018. Klaus.
Yep. It was good, but it doesn't quite reach
Top 3
for me.
But there's a lot of good Christmas movies. And here's the thing is, you're supposed to tell stories around the fire, around the Christmas tree. It's part of our nature, whether they're ghost stories or happy stories or sad stories or songs or carols.
Oh, the thing with our friend and his kids.
Oh, yeah. One of our friends was telling his kids about the Christmas gods, and he got to Krampus, and one of the kids' eyes got so wide, like, and then the kid, through no prompting of our friend, suggested this year, along with putting out, milk and cookies for Santa, put out a bowl of hot soup for Krampus, because he might get cold.
Right. See, I suggest beef stew. I mean, if you're going to but this might be a custom somewhere, and if it is, I'd love to know about it, because then it's just been reinvented. It might have been something old long ago. I don't know. But even if it's brand new, this is something that I suggest that we do. Start leaving out a bowl of hot stew for Krampus.
Well, and Krampus...
Why? Because why not?
Well, and he's not evil. Like, even in the old lore, he's not evil. This is the mistake a lot of people make when they were like,
he's not the devil of Christmas.
No, he's just a wild god, and he predates Sinterklaas. In fact, there's some guesses that the reason... Because if you look up really old depictions of St. Nicholas, he was the boy saint. He was clean-shaven. He looked more like Apollo than he does like Woden. When he moved north, he got shaggier. And there's a lot of people that hypothesize it has to do with he got associated with figures like Krampus and the old school Wild Man's Warty Pyatt and all these other figures. And they're basically like, yeah, he basically got shaggier so he doesn't look too out of place next to these guys. And it's almost everything that we do ends up trending heathen. Christmas is just getting more and more heathen as the years go by. It's like Santa Claus. They put Santa Claus in to try and sanitize it, but they just made it more pagan.
Right. Well, and you can participate with the Christmas carols. If your family does Christmas carols, if they don't, start doing them anyways. Because most of the Christmas carols are actually pagan as fuck. I mean, for years, I thought Little Drummer Boy was about the Bear King.
Oh, yeah.
The Bear King being reborn. Because a lot of people, when they think of the story of the Bear King, and Bear King's going to return, or King Arthur's going to return, if they don't realize that they're the same figure, they're imagining a corpse sitting up in a tomb, digging its way out of a cave. Or,
just coughing.
Right, coughing up dust. Or coming back across the veil with an army of fae and various gods behind. But that's not the actual lore. The actual lore is he's going to be born. He is going to be reborn. He's going to reincarnated.
Well, and here's the thing is, if you want to, if you by some stretch of the imagination want to keep the manger scene, first of all, you could pretty easily rebrand it to the Bear King.
Yeah. Well, because that's all Christianity did was take the pagan stuff and rebrand it to Christianity.
Oh, yeah.
We're just taking it back.
Well, what's that line from Tolkien? Evil cannot create, it can only corrupt.
Yeah.
We're pretty adamant here evil is a Christian concept, but it's an accurate term.
Right. They're just talking about themselves.
Well, and Tolkien is no stranger to Christmas himself. And I really wanted to bring this up because without Christmas, specifically Christmas, there would be no Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tolkien, yes, he told stories of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, and that's kind of how these things got started. And his son, I think it was Christopher, was like, but you said that Thorin had a silver tassel, not a golden tassel. Damn the boy! Writes down notes.
Right.
That's actually part of the story, apparently, of how the books got written. But Tolkien used to write letters as Father Christmas to his children. Just super detailed with goblins and gnomes and polar bears and cave bears and ancient cave paintings and Hyperborea and shifting ice sheets. And it's really cool.
Entire lineages because he's Tolkien.
Oh, yeah. Father Christmas has grandfather Yule, who's so old that he should remember when the North Pole was actually somewhere else.
Which was actually kind of a neat line. He should remember when the North Pole was somewhere else.
So there's never been any disguise of Yule predates Christmas. And Christmas is Yule, but Christmas is also not Yule, but it is Yule.
Christmas is just the day that we all agreed to get together and celebrate.
Yes, the Yuletide is the season. Right. Because I've got a little...
So it's basically the agreed upon peak of the season.
Which, even that, it's like, it's shifting. Because people are like, well, we can't get together on the 24th or the 25th, so we'll do the 22nd. We can't get together on the 24th or the 25th, and we're pretty much booked up till then, but we can get together on the 30th.
Right. But back to the, I want to yank it back to the Christmas carols. Most of the Christmas carols has nothing to do with Christianity, anyways. And then most of the other songs they're singing actually about. If you think about the lyrics, they're actually singing about the Bear King being born again, coming to our people, uniting our people, leading us to victory, so on and so forth. Yes, there are some that's blatantly Christian. Go around those ones. I mean, there's, thousands of Christmas carols. And then a lot of them are also just bastardized pagan songs that never had words. They were just simply melodies that everybody knew. And everybody sang, and everybody sang in harmony.
Well, isn't there a hypothesis that Ave Maria actually originates from... It's not to the Mother Mary. It's to... Mary Magdalene or something like that, and it's actually Mary Magdalene covers up like a Magdalena goddess or something like that. So almost like I said, Christianity, it can't create, it can only corrupt.
Well, yeah. What the thing is Ave Maria. Everybody thinks it's Jesus's mother because of the name, but we know that the words are to, I believe it's Magdalene, but it's not the Mother Mary. It's the other
Mary.
And then the hypothesis comes in is that this is actually a far older song that was to a heathen goddess, and it's just been rebranded, redone. It's like when they take a old, I don't know, 1950s song or a 1920 song, and then they redo it now, and everybody thinks it's a brand new song, but it's actually a cover of a song that's like 80 years old.
Oh, yeah, and people are trying to...
but it's a new song because the music sounds different. It's the same song.
Well, there's this weird habit. Well, let's go with strange. Strange habit. Use the right word. Strange habit that our cultures have of when we do something that's based off really, really old folklore, all of a sudden, that becomes the first time this has ever happened. Like Frosty the Snowman or Santa Claus in the Coca-Cola commercials. All of a sudden...
Oh, yes, it got written down, so it's brand new, and this person invented it. You know, like Jennifer Lawrence, according to her, was the first female action star ever because it was the first action movie that she was in. They're still... They're or when somebody copyrights a fucking folk song, and they're like, oh, I wrote this song, and it came to me in a dream, and I wrote it down in 10 minutes. Yes, it's because the song already existed,
and
dumbass.
You were just remembering it, you silly, silly person.
You silly, silly woman.
And yes, we're specifically referencing Savage Daughter. That was not written down by hippie name, whatever.
She wrote it down after
but she didn't,
dreamed about it because the
she
song
heard
already existed.
Oh, yeah, you're not the only Irishman who's been like, no, my grandmother used to sing that to me. Fuck off.
Yeah.
And it's an actual problem. It's like they like to rewrite history a lot because history rarely is G-rated and it rarely supports whatever the current bullshit is. Mm-hmm. So, like, for instance, another example, and this will get us a little bit off topic, but Spanish flu. All of a sudden, even though the mask didn't even exist then, there's face masks all over, photoshopped into every freaking photo from the Spanish flu.
Yeah, it's near impossible to find the original pictures now.
But they didn't have them back then.
Okay, hard transition back into Christmas.
Yes.
The celebration of Kris Kringle, the healing
spirit, the Christmas
of the
spirit,
countryside,
with all of the heathen traditions.
Right. Yeah, it's basically the healing spirit. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle bells,
jingle all the way.
That's a Christmas carol.
Oh, yeah. The bells are actually an actual Christmas thing. They're associated with Krampus. They're associated with Frau Halle. They're associated with Santa Claus. Bells have been used by us for a long time.
Bells and whistles and drums.
Yes, it's just...
forever.
You want to see what a traditional bell looks like. You've got kind of the classic sleigh bell. That's a bit more modern, but we've had those for a while, like the Krampus bell. And then you also have those old school, like, cowbell things that like they'll put on the Wilderman or stuff like that, and that is also a bell, and we've had bells for a long time, and we've used bells.
We have banging bells, and we have ringing bells, and we have swinging bells, and
we have dinner bells.
Yes, we made a lot of different kinds of bells because bells are cool.
Oh yeah. Well, and here's the thing is, like, a lot of people will say, well, Kris Kringle or Santa Claus is just Odin. Odin is associated with the holiday.
He has his own stories.
Yes, you don't have to, like, he goes around, finds the 3 best people and gives them gifts. This is basically...
And what it is that they need, not what it is that they want.
So no Game Boys, no Wiis, just...
And specifically to make them better versions of themselves.
Well, like, we brought up the Santa Claus film. That's an Othin move, that gift.
Yeah.
You are now Santa Claus. Congratulations.
And here's the thing is the 3 gifts that he gives out, it's what they need to become better versions of themselves. So let's say that you got a woodsman. Othin's like, oh, to be a better version of himself, he needs to, I don't know, repair more stuff at the house. He gives the woodsman a hammer.
It seems wrong, but it's what it's going to take. And like we brought up the 2019 Christmas Carol, and we said, basically stop after the second half. It's It's because the first half they have the Ghost of Christmas Past, but they accidentally do Othin.
Yes.
Like, it looks like Othin, it acts like Othin, it has the moral compass of Othin.
We've considered doing more reviews. It doesn't seem like it's horribly popular, but we might do it anyways. I don't know. But I would actually like to sit down maybe and break this down for people with this is exactly what we're talking about. Kind of like what I do with you when we're watching movies. I'm like, did you notice this? Did you see that? This is what this thing actually means. The writers probably have no idea what it is that they're saying. But this is what it means in combination with the words and the way that the actor is portraying it.
Well, it's like we're both fans of this show, Firefly, with the sequel Serenity. There are so many pagan lines in that. Mm-hmm. It is actually a very pagan show.
And a lot of the moral compass is very pagan.
Well, like the very first episode
has a
pagan chieftain moment where the guy's like, I'm warning you. And the guy's like got River, the girl, with a gun. Mal, the captain / chieftain of the ship, just basically walks onto the ship, pulls a gun, shoots the guy in the head.
Because he ain't got time to be playing with him.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah. And then he just goes up, makes sure he's dead, calls his champion over, and then everyone knows what to do.
Him out.
Yeah.
Everybody just, no questions.
No messing around, no philosophizing, no monologuing, just this needs done, I'm doing it.
Yeah. And that's what the chieftain does. And yeah, it's a really pagan show. But I guess the whole big thing is participate in your family and friends' Christmas celebrations. They know it's Yule. You can call it Yule, but it's okay to call it Christmas too, because it's Kris Kringle's holiday.
That is what I'm going to think from now on.
A lot of people are even starting to spell Christmas with a K.
Yes. Or occasionally with an X.
Yes.
And here's the thing. Well, the X is a cross.
Well, the Xmas is older, and no, the X is not a cross.
No, and I would actually argue, just for fun, because people associate the Gebo rune, which looks like an X, as symbolic of the word gift. It's Giftmas.
Yes.
Why
your
not? Family is a gift. Your community is a gift. The gift of song.
And if you spell Christmas with a K, K-R-I-S, and they're like, well, what about the T? Or what's up with the T? Well, it's the X. There wasn't no room for it, so they had to stand it up and wedge it in.
Christmas with an X, like Hunter.
Right. Just get silly with it. I mean, it's kind of what we do anyways. Don't be overly serious. Don't get...
Well, it's like those gnomes everyone likes. Yes, they're house spirits, they're ancestral spirits, but they're supposed to be vulgar.
Oh, yes.
They're supposed to be, like, butt naked on the back with their beard covering up their junk. They're supposed to be looking like they're rubbing one out. They're supposed to...
They're supposed to be.
They're supposed to be flipping people off.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be mooning people. Because here's the thing is, think about the level...
Well, yeah, because I told you about that at the one store, and I showed you a thing, and some of the people there were like, oh, dearie me. What's that one thing? Something about Murgatroyd. Anyways.
Heavens to Murgatroyd.
Heavens to Murgatroyd. I can't believe they did that in public. When I took the gnome and I put its hand down its crotch, and I said, this is what they're supposed to actually be. But there was more people that kind of chuckled to themselves and just nodded. They understood instinctively that's what these things are supposed to be. Well, and then you start digging online and found, I'm not even sure it's good for us to say on an uncensored podcast, and they're old.
Oh, yeah, there's what was it? It was like before Christianization, they had what I can only describe as a gnome, where if you took the top off, it was a penis.
They was very rapey gnomes.
Well,
very rapey.
I think it's often attributed to being Priapus, but we don't know. We honestly don't know. For all we know, it was a gnome.
Well,
it's
and I say rapey loosely. It's not always rape, but it's funny. Well, it's funny. It's funny. You laugh, motherfucker.
Well, the thing is, we're irreverent. That's why Christmas comedies are a thing. They can't do them for shit anymore, but Christmas comedies exist for a reason.
Comedy's broken currently.
Oh yeah, it's completely broken.
It's up to us Hyperborean heathens to reclaim comedy and make comedy funny again.
Oh yeah, don't be a stick in the mud. Don't be me.
Yes,
because I am both blessed and cursed. I'm a very serious person. On the plus side, this makes me very capable of getting down to business, despite me. But on the other hand, it's very hard for me to be the life of the party.
Right.
That's more your thing.
And it's a learned skill. You'll get there eventually. You might not ever be the life of the party, but at least you won't be the fun sucker. You walk in and all the fun is just sucked out of the air.
Just suck it in. All the fun is mine now.
Bye.
But I can be the Heimdall. I can be the straight man, occasionally making things be funnier.
Yeah, you might be able to get there.
But it's also like it's not just Othin. It's not just Kris Kringle, Santa Claus. It's not just Krampus. It's not just Father Christmas. It's not just Sinterklaas and Zwarte Piet and La Befana. All the gods get involved in the holidays. Mm-hmm. The Wild Hunt is not. It's made up of almost all the gods. Any of the ones that don't stick around as homebodies, basically. Like, I don't know, the Dogda might not go on it because he's got to stick around.
Right, but he also does go on it.
And then
he just doesn't go every year.
Maybe Sif doesn't go on it because she's typically a homemaker. But sometimes she'll be like, you know what? I'm going to go with my man, make sure he isn't
I'm going to take cookies.
I'm going to just have fun.
Who knows? As heathens, it's our duty, our sacred duty, to make people like this time of year. Get them to understand it's okay if you can't do it on December 25th. I think it's 5th.
Yeah, 25th and 24th.
24th and 25th. It's okay if you have to do it on the 17th and 18th because that's still Yule. Christmas is just the day that most people, not everybody, is going to celebrate it. It's fine to do it on the 16th and the 17th. It's fine to do it on the 30th. It's even fine to do it into January. Well, or as early as the very beginning of December. It's perfectly fine because it's all Yule.
Well, and in America, our Yuletide effectively starts the day after the day after Thanksgiving, or on Thanksgiving, if you want to include like the parades. And honestly, I am not a fan of Black Friday, but at the same time, I don't really care enough to be like, oh, we need to stop Black Friday. And just if you don't like it,
shit. If you don't like it, just don't buy anything.
Yes, it's like I don't mind whenever you celebrate it within the Yuletide. It doesn't really matter. And here's the thing is, just like everything else in heathenry.
And he's talking about Christmas, not Black Friday.
No, Black Friday.
You made a really sloppy transition there.
Yes.
You're a professional, damn it. This is not allowed.
Yes. I'd like Black Friday deals on January 1st.
Make it Black Friday every day. Every Friday. But, yeah, it's our duty to make people want to embrace Yule and Christmas meaning the blessed healer of the heath, Kris Kringle.
Yes.
Our Lord and Savior. He saves us from ourselves.
From our humbuggery.
Right. But, like, if it's in your personality to be the boisterous one, be the boisterous one. Pull people in, make them feel a little bit more sane because you're just a little more insane and kind of leading them down the path of madness. If that's not you, be the one that thanks people for showing up and offer them a cookie and tell them that they look nice today. But be welcoming. And people will want us around. Then people, because the thing is if we're honest, they know that we're heathen. Eventually they might be like, you seem really into this. Maybe this really is a pagan holiday. Because so long as you're angry, they're going to think that it's a Christian holiday. It's not. Stop pretending it's a Christmas or a Christian holiday by being angry. Instead, be happy that it's Christmas. It's Kris Kringle's Day. Damn it. Be happy. Be welcoming. Be inviting. Then they'll start believing you. Then they'll start asking you questions. What is up with the angel or the star on top of the tree? Why is the tree actually inside? Is it supposed to actually be a pine tree? Is it bad for me to have a plastic pine tree? I don't know. I'm going to go to the heathen and ask.
Well, and here's the thing is, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Heathens give up too much ground. I said it with Halloween because people will be like, it's not Halloween, it's Samhain. And with that one, it's literally just belligerence. It is quite literally just belligerence because Halloween's not even a Christian name.
No.
So
Not even a little bit.
you can't even confuse it for one. So instead of, well, it's actually supposed to be the Yule, say, well, it used to be the Yuletide, and then it was like 4 weeks long. And then you could have the holiday peak whenever you wanted.
But be excited about it.
Don't
be Mr. Lecture. Don't
be
be the
Mr.
lore keeper.
Don't be
on
me.
This one.
Don't be me with that one. Be excited. Be like,
be Celtic God on this one. Oh yeah, did you know it's like a month long?
Oh yeah, you have the excitedness far more. I'm more like Lurch from the Addams Family.
Yeah.
Just
He
dry.
tries. Lurch tries so hard.
But you actually get into that, and here's the thing: people travel across the country, across the continent, because like America,
sometimes across the world,
to see family during this time period. And if you can't see them, give them a call. And I understand, yes, there are some situations where
there are some families.
Yes, I won't deny that there are some situations where it's just wash your hands of it. You have to. But if you're not one of those people in those situations, and you have somebody, and then here's the thing: is be kind to other people around this time period as well.
Othin is watching.
Well, quite literally, because this is the time of magic. It's the time of miracles. It's the time of gods and spirits and goodwill towards men. It's why the point of Christmas Carol, I think it's summed up in the line, I will carry the spirit of Christmas in my heart always, throughout the entire year. Because Scrooge's whole thing, one of the reasons he was so cynical of Christmas, was the fact that people will pretend to be neighborly and kind around Christmas and then hide themselves in their collar and sneer at each other the rest of the year.
Because in that story, Scrooge makes some very good points. He is telling the truth.
Oh, yeah. He's not saying anything wrong. That's the thing. What it is it's vantage points. Both sides within the Christmas Carol, both the pro-Christmas and the anti-Christmas.
They're both correct.
They're both correct, but the choice is, do you want to be miserable or do you want to be full of hope? And really, this is the time of hope. Or at least have
glimmers of hope.
Well, that's the whole point is, yes, like it is dark, it is cold out, but that's no reason to despair.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose to be hopeful. You can choose to be happy with your family.
This is actually kind of the point of the whole thing, because both sides in that story they're telling the truth. But Scrooge comes in and he's on the cynical side. By the end, he's on the side of, why is this only one day a year? We should be welcoming like this, not necessarily the gifts, but, and I'm not talking about bad movies now. I'm talking about the actual story written by
Charles
Dickinson. We should be welcoming all the time, not just on one day a year, not just occasionally. We should be warm and welcoming, open, all year round. That's why it's even blatantly said, all year round or every day of the year. I forget how it's worded in the book, but that it's supposed to be more than just one day a year. And it's not, it has nothing to do with the figgy pudding. It has nothing to do with the goose or the turkey or the ham. It has nothing to do with the ice skates or the book. It doesn't have anything to do with that. What it has to do with is just being open and welcoming all year round, not giving gifts all year round.
No, the gifts are, you give them because you care. If you give them out of obligation, then they mean nothing.
Right, that's even addressed in the actual story. A gift given is obligation.
Yes, a gift given out of obligation is not a gift given at all or something like that. And here's the thing
and that's true.
Well, yes, because there is a bit of an obligation. Oh, they got me a gift. I need to get them a gift now. But here's the thing. You can say, oh, they got me a gift. Now I have to get them a gift. Or, oh, wow, they got me a gift. Oh, what should I get them? Maybe I might not be able to afford anything, but I can at the very least be a friend.
And here's the thing: if you give a gift, giving with the expectation to get something in return, are you actually giving a gift? The answer, Scrooge is right. The answer is no.
No, and here's the thing: that book, that Christmas Carol, one of the reasons I love it so much is not just that it's a literal pagan myth; it's the fact that it saved Christmas. Like all these shows of, we have to save Christmas.
Well, and it teaches actual heathen morals.
It's actual heathen morals. It's heathen gods. It's heathen mythology. And They almost destroyed Christmas. They almost got rid of the Yuletide entirely. That book got us to keep 2 days.
Yes.
And yes, there's other Christmas and Yuletide
Charles
holidays.
Dickinson saved 2 days. We need to save the rest of the month.
Yes, let's work it back. Let's get
because they're trying to take those 2 days away again.
Oh yeah, well they have for some. Like there's a lot of companies like.
Well, it's just a mercantile holiday. It's just about the buying of the gifts, and they're convincing people of this, which is them making people not participate.
Nobody likes the mercantile element.
Yeah,
it's like if you are going. This is a recommendation I would give. If you want to give a gift from Santa Claus, have it be handmade. Maybe you can't make it, but have it be handmade because Santa's got a workshop, not a Silicon Valley factory.
This would be my suggestion. Try this, maybe not this year. Try this next year and get together with your family and be like, what if we do a Christmas where one kid gets a present from Santa Claus and it'll be handmade and we all go in on it together and or work on it together, whatever. But one kid in the household gets it. I don't care if you figure it out by lottery. Everyone else, I mean, their moms and dads are going to give them presents anyway, so don't worry about it. I'm just talking about from Santa Claus. Okay, none of the adults get presents. Their gifts have to be, you bring a song. Well, what do you mean bring a song? Yeah, you come when we have Christmas, you sing a song. Sing a song for everybody.
Yeah, we might have
you got all year to practice it. Practice a song. It doesn't matter what Christmas song it is, but every adult has to get up. And this is going to be our gift to each other, is we all get up and embarrass ourselves in front of all the other adults and the kids. And try that. Try doing a Christmas really with no gifts. There's a lot of families that do stuff like that anyways, other than they're not, and by gifts I mean nothing wrapped. There's a lot of families that do that anyways because they can't afford to get everybody a gift. So then you start prioritizing, the kids get the gifts. And the adults don't. But then the adults don't do anything, really. And then they get miserable. So give each other the gift of song. It doesn't matter what the thing is. It doesn't have to be a song. But pick a thing where everybody is going to do this next Christmas.
Well, and that's the point. The whole point of gifts, the whole point of the lights, the whole point of a grand celebration, Christmas and Christmas Eve, New Year's, the 12 days of Christmas, the Advent calendar, all this seasonal time. It's about forging those bonds. It's about reminding each other that we're still here.
Right.
That in the hustle and bustle of life that we've allowed to get us down, that there's still dinner with the person you love. That you're still there for your kids. You're still there for your loved one. You're still there. Your family is still there. Your friends are still there. Your community is still there.
You are the light in the darkness.
Well, and this is part of the reason we tell ghost stories. The Yuletide is just like Halloween. It's the time when the ancestral spirits like to visit. That's the kind of the point of the Christmas cookies.
The strange footprints in the snow.
Yes, the footprints in the snow, the knocking when there's nothing there, the wind whistling your name. That's the Christmas season. It's supposed to be a bit spooky. It's supposed to be a bit scary. It's like we were talking about. Halloween's too dark.
Well, it's supposed to be mysterious.
Yes. Halloween's too dark, needs to lighten up a bit, and Christmas is too happy, needs to get a bit more dour.
Right, needs to darken up a little bit. So, yeah. And Christmas is heathen as fuck, and everybody knows it. There's no reason. Don't bother getting upset or angry or, oh, did you know? Everybody sit down. I got on my professor robes.
Robes in my soapbox.
Did you know that Christmas actually has heathen origins and boring speech, accusatory tone. Nobody's going to listen. Nobody gives a shit.
Well, actually, there's even a movie that has that exact message. Don't do that. The Polar Express, which is based off a book, which is based off Michigan
folklore. It's a very bad movie. It is a decent book.
But the book's good, based off actual Michigan Christmas folklore. The movie has this one character he's not mean. He's a know-it-all. So he's just constantly ranting. Well, I know this thing. Did you know this thing? Did you know this thing? Well, did you know about the origins of the hot cocoa? And over and over again. And he's always wants to be the center of attention. He's always talking over everybody.
it's fine to want to be the center of attention, but there's better ways to get it.
Oh, and it's fine to know a lot of things.
Yes.
But nobody wants to be lectured to on a freaking holiday.
Right. Instead, be the one that, where they come to you on the side, maybe even slightly embarrassed. Yeah, I know that you're heathen. What's up with the angel on top of the tree? What's up with the bulbs? Why the garland? Why the tinsel? Why do we do this and why do we do that? And they might even be embarrassed that, so they're like whisper talking to you over in the corner because they don't want everybody else to know that they came to you to ask you heathen questions. And why would they come to you to ask you heathen questions? Not because you're Professor Heathen. It's because you're fun.
Yes.
You make them want to embrace this a little bit because you make it look fucking fun.
Well, and I try, like, on our website, wilderhomesproject.life, and which will eventually be redone, and our Telegram, Hyperborean Radio Uncensored, we actually have a lot of these things. So if you need like a cheat sheet, because you want to know more than you've had time to research, we've got it up for you so that you can actually have these things in case someone asks you.
And eventually we'll have it organized better.
Yes.
And it's, yeah, we got plans. We got plans, folks. We got plans. Yeah.
Well, and
go ahead.
Part of the reason I really want to encourage not just the bringing back of the Yuletide, but the bringing back of the slowdown, the communal ties, the festivals,
the hot cocoa and
the wassailing and the
stick and
I'd love it if I don't want to get rid of like the Christmas trees and the Christmas decorations, but I'd love it if we had groves again with like the Yule log and all the little magpie.
Eventually, we can bring it back outside.
Yes, back to where it was, but also keep the parts that we like of where it is.
Right. Well, like in the last podcast, talk about decorating the house, but then the trees are outside. We decorate those. Everybody goes outside. But the house is also warm and inviting and all festive and decorated. Yeah, we can bring it back. It's our holiday. Let's do that.
Well, the other races even admit that. That's why they've tried to invent things like Kwanzaa. Hasn't stuck, but they
keep trying.
They keep trying because they're like, this is very obviously like.
What is it? Hanukkah. Hanukkah is not Christmas.
Well, Hanukkah
is not Yule.
Well, and Hanukkah is actually not even an important holiday for the Jews.
Correct.
They, in Judaism, it's one of the more minor celebrations. It's a little like our. Okay, we don't really have minor holidays.
Yeah, because we just have to think of a minor one. We don't really have.
Well, because we used to party hardy even on Flag Day.
Yeah,
like Flag Day, it's an excuse. Let's go have a parade.
It's more like Random Tuesday.
Yeah, for us.
Yeah, Hanukkah for the Jews is more like Random Tuesday for us. We might get together and have a little get together, but nothing over the top because it's just Random Tuesday.
Yes.
I hope that actually becomes a holiday though.
Random
on a
Tuesday.
Random day of the year, like Random Tuesday. We're all going to celebrate on, I don't know.
Let's make it opposite day. Let's make it an actual holiday. Random Tuesday, opposite day.
Yeah.
That would be so. That would either be infuriating or really fun. And here's the thing: is we're not the only people that have brought up that you don't want to get rid of the new, but you also kind of want to get back to the roots. Like
right.
Iceland actually put out a statement to its people. Okay, you should probably stop having the Yule lads put iPods in the shoes because a bunch of troll men that live up in the mountains don't have access to the Apple factory.
We can do both, the best of the past and the best of today, and bring these things together.
Well, that's the whole...
Leave the worst behind, bring the best with us.
That's the whole point. The heathenry is a living holiday. There's no correct time period for it. It's not the Viking Age. It's not the pre-Viking Age. It's not the Bronze Age or the Iron Age.
It's been with us since our first footsteps as men,
and it hasn't stopped. Like H.P. Lovecraft said, older than Memphis and mankind. The Yuletide. It's so old. We don't know. It's like the snowman. We don't know how old it is. We don't know how old our gods are. We don't know these things, but they're all, we can tell just feeling it. Fuck old.
Yeah. Even the bears celebrate it. I don't know if they do, but
they might.
Why not? Why not?
I mean, there's a lot of depictions of Tomte and gnomes
I know
and
bears
elves.
get together and do some weird shit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Anyways, we're right there at that point. I am glad that you guys come with us, and hopefully you guys feel better about celebrating Christmas. Hopefully that you can you can inspire people to want to be like you because you're fun. They want to re-embrace our ethnic heritage because you're fun and make it look good. You're inviting and warm and welcoming. And if you're not, train yourself to be.
Well,
I mean, that's all that there is to it. So, yeah, I'm done. And see you guys on the next show.
And I'll simply say the goal here is not to try to take away the last two vestiges of the day. The goal is to expand it back to its majestic whole season.